I've noticed with when I do the cross cradle sitting up, I
Hmm.
definitely need to help her get on.
Yes.
And sometimes I have to relatch her, but so far with this position, she's pretty much found it on her own all the time, and everything's felt comfortable so far.
Well, that's right. My opinion is, a lot of what goes wrong with breastfeeding is because we've come out of an era where bottle feeding was the norm. And so sometimes even subconsciously, not realizing it, we try to translate what we know about bottle feeding to breastfeeding. And it just doesn't work very well. And so I think what's happened is a lot of the positions that we've taught where mothers are sitting straight up, either the baby's in front of them or on their side or whatever, basically these are bottle feeding positions or variations of them, and because that's what we've been used to seeing for a couple of generations. But we're beginning to realize now that these more natural positions are completely different from bottle feeding positions, because of course you couldn't possibly bottle feed a baby in this position. Whereas, some of the other, like the cradle and the cross cradle and the football, certainly you could bottle feed. And what makes it challenging in those positions, the reason she can't really help is because gravity is pulling her down and away from you. And so that is why you have most of the responsibility, because you're fighting the effects of gravity. You have to be the one that ensures she gets on deeply. You have to make sure she stays pressed against you so she knows what she's doing, and how to nurse. And so it's really a lot more of it is on your shoulders when you're fighting gravity. But in these positions she can help, and that does take a lot of the burden off of you. And as you can see, it also eliminates a lot of the struggle, because the very same reflexes that babies are born with that help them get to the breast, if you put them in a position where gravity is working against them, they can actually become barriers to breastfeeding. So the arm cycling that helps the babies make their way up the breast suddenly becomes, batting at the breast. And the mothers have told me over the years, I don't think I have enough hands to breastfeed, because they're fighting the baby's arms and they're fighting the baby's legs. And yet if you put a baby on top of you like this, then those very same reflexes actually help them get to the breast and feed. So just a very simple adjustment of position like that can make a huge difference in terms of how easy or difficult breastfeeding is, especially in the beginning. The good news is, as you and your baby get more practice, of course, it gets easier and more automatic, and your baby starts to get more head and neck control and just more coordinated. So after the early weeks, it doesn't really matter so much how you breastfeed. You'll find it's very easy. But in the beginning, when you're learning, I think these positions are kind of like the training wheels on a bicycle, where it just is it's a way to make it easier for you while you're learning.